Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. I had the honor of seeing this band perform live on the same bill as my daughter, Scissor, on several occasions in Joliet, Illinois in 2021, and then last year in Kankakee. Boy, you guys put on a lot of great energy in that show. When guitarist Don King gets started, man, the place is a-jumping. The band is Terminus Victor, and from the band, we happen to have guitarist Don King and bassist and vocalist Scott Kinbel. Guys, welcome to the show, man. We really appreciate you having you on.
Thanks so much, Rick.
Oh, thanks.
I'm so glad to get you guys on the podcast. The first time I saw you guys play, I knew something was special about you guys. What are the origins of Terminus Victor? It was just the two of you and a drum machine to start with, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the origins of the name, where did that come from?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember, to be honest with you. It was actually, we were in a band before Terminus Victor called Hush Tower in the 90s. And I had a song called Terminus Victor, and it didn't really work out too well. So I just saved that name, and it doesn't really mean anything or anything. I just like the way it sounds. I don't know. I mean, I know it's Latin, especially Terminus, but I just never really thought it. I just thought it sounded cool.
Oh, it works. It goes. Yeah, everyone seems to know it too. In your bio, you described your music as both immediate and insidious, a bold and spicy blend of rock, alternative rock, and post-punk with a dash of shoegaze. When you guys write, who inspires you? Is there particular musicians that really and truly kind of get you going? Maybe try to pattern yourself after, or is it just totally on your own?
I pretty much write the songs, and I'll come up with some skeletal parts for Don, and then he'll Donify it and make it TV. The thing is that I don't really think about it so much. I think we have our influences. When it comes to shoegaze, we're really influenced by My Bloody Valentine and Slow Dive and all that stuff. But it's just little hints here and there that, the shoegaze part is going to come from Don's guitar parts.
Right. Yeah, I can understand that. Yes.
Then we have this post-punk element about us. Bass for me would be like Killing Joke, Joy Division, a myriad of post-punk artists, bass-driven, touch-and-go records, stuff like Girls Against Boys. So you mix those together. And also Don has this, he has this, he can do a lot of things. Sometimes he reminds me a little bit the way he plays Rick Nielsen.
I get that. I totally get the Rick Nielsen part. Absolutely.
I see a lot. That's probably a lot of it. But he's just being him. We don't really target shoot okay, let's try to do this and let's make it sound like this. We just write, and we have our influences like every band does, and we just try to make our own thing out of it.
Awesome. Very good. Well, the first song we're going to feature is Taking the Advantage. It's featured from your very first album called Mastering the Revels. The backstory on this particular song, Scott?
Oh man, it was so long ago.
2003. Yeah, it's been a while.
I think it was the second song we wrote.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you're right, man.
It's amazing because that song has lasted so long with the energy it has.
Yeah, so I wrote it in the spring of 2000.
I realize that's 23 years ago, guys. It's hard to believe. That's an entire generation.
Oh, I know, man.
I know, pretty much, right?
I know. Where did the time go, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I think that song represents kind of what when we launched into this project together. We were just really ready to rock. He mentioned Hush Tower that we were in before. And
right.
That was very, like mathy and off kilter and odd time rhythms and
a lot of parts. A lot of sections, it wasn't proggy at all. It was just kind of there was just a lot of stuff going on that I just kind of, and I loved it at the time. And I made it sound like it's a lot simpler than when I'm saying that, than when I'm talking about. But there was just a lot of sections, really. Each section was simple, but then we just had a lot of sections. And so then after Hush Tower, after we were, that kind of just naturally ended, I just wanted Mastering the Rebels. I just wanted to just like fucking rock for a second. You know what I mean? Just like
absolutely.
Just get it out of my system. And then Don, I mean, me and Don at this point in time, which is me and Don on drum machine. And I can't even believe we got away with it. But like, I lived in a residential neighborhood, and Don would show up like at 11 on a weekday, show up at 11:30, and we would like practice for like 3 hours from like 12 to 3 o'clock in the morning. And no, we never cops called us or anything.
Wow, that's really a surprise. Yeah.
I mean, we were really loud too. Yeah. And my kids also too, my kids were really young at the time, and they were just upstairs sleeping. And they just to this day, they always say like, that's like their most favorite memories. It's like hearing us play downstairs.
Unless Don had it in pianissimo, real tiny.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to feature that song right now, Taking the Advantage. Here is a great song from Terminus Victor right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
You got the sea, but you know
Taking the advantage, a great tune from Terminus Victor, and with us from the band is Don King and Scott Kinbel. We talked about the first album, Mastering the Revels, came out in 2003, followed that up in 2005 with Under the Surveillance, and then Prevention versus Intervention, released in 2013, then remastered a couple of years later by Adam Schmidt for vinyl and released in 2015. Adam Schmidt is a name I'm very familiar with, because when I first had my Someone You Should Know show back in the late 90s, early 2000s, it featured an incredible female artist from Champaign-Urbana, lovely lady by the name of Robin Ragland.
Yes,
and
I know who she is.
Yep, and Adam produced her album Modern American Female Gut, one of the best albums you've never heard, and it is just a fabulous album. What is your thoughts of working with Adam?
Oh, he's great. He's a really great guy. He was easy to work with. He's super professional. He knows what he's doing and very detailed. And he has his own timing too, right?
For the past 4 months, you guys have been recording in the studio some brand new material. Where are you guys in the process right now?
So we have rough mixes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good.
So basically, like mix down will kind of like really start here actually on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday we're getting.
And so that's when we start to like, and they're all just small moves at this point. Once you get a rough mix, then they're just little small moves to make the song shine a little.
All right.
So that's where we're up to now.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Next song we're going to feature is a track from your second album, from the album Under Surveillance, a song called A Scream in the Park. What's the backstory on this one?
It's actually fictional. It was about finding your lover in the park dead. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Okay.
I mean, it was just, I don't know where it came from because I didn't go through that. I mean, it's kind of weird that, we love this song. Most of the stuff that I write lyrically is totally about my life. Okay. But this one was not. Usually when I write vocals first, and I'm really good at like getting like vowel sounds that I like, and just kind of like mumbling. And then I'll write lyrics to those vowel sounds. And that's just the way that it worked for that song, because I didn't really have any idea. I mean, that was just what came to me, right? Like right from the get-go.
Right.
So like it's a fictional story, but like, I don't know, there's probably something in there personal that I haven't grappled with yet. Probably.
All right. Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good song. We're going to feature that next here on the Someone You Should Know podcast. Song is called A Scream in the Park from Don King and Scott Kinbel, the band Terminus Victor, right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast. A Scream of the Park from Don King and Scott Kinbel. The band is Terminus Victor on the Someone You Should Know podcast. Glad to have them on board today. You've played so many gigs and festivals. What's your high water mark today? Is there any specific event or venue that kind of stands out as far as, man, that was really cool?
I would say the Milwaukee show.
Milwaukee. Yeah, that was a good show.
Okay, so we never experienced people get a little they get excited at our shows.
Okay, right. I understand that.
But I never had an experience where someone came up on stage and kissed me on the cheek and then
nice.
And then and they just surf into the crowd, the
crowd was kind of moshing.
The crowd was moshing, it was really they were just going crazy. And I never had that experience before. But also too, we just played a really fucking killer show. It was just we were just dead on it, man.
Yeah.
We feel good about a lot of our shows, but that one just we could do nothing wrong, man.
It's nice when you have events like that, because the next thing I'm going to talk about is when those things just don't go as planned. It's called Tales from the Road. Those are those infamous road stories of getting to a gig, something that happens at a gig, something that happens backstage at a gig, something that happens with your accommodations. By the way, I want to say thank you very much for helping my daughter Shauna out. She told me when we had her on episode 9 that on her Tales from the Road, she was playing a gig with you guys in Joliet, and their van had a couple of flat tires. And you guys were nice enough to put all their gear and them in the vehicle and get them to the next gig, then haul their butts back to Joliet. Thank you so much. From a dad, thank you so very much. It was very, very kind of you to do that, guys. And it's much love from Leslie and myself and my family for doing that, because my daughter's very important to me. What about your interesting road stories, guys?
Well, getting back to what you're talking about, also right back, Sister is a band that we love so much, and we love them as friends, and we love their music, and it's so we always get so excited when we get to play with each other on the same bill again, and it's going to happen again too, of course. So we're always Shauna. And everybody in that band, but Sean is cool, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that from a proud papa, Okay. Yeah, sure. What about a road story, guys? Anything that kind of comes to your mind as far as where things just didn't go like the Milwaukee gig?
Well, we have a lot of those.
Okay, well, just kind of pick out one out. It could be as blue as you'd like it to be as far as that goes, because this is a podcast. It's not being aired on the radio, so you can do whatever you want.
I would have to say we had a early TVIC had some weird shows in Terre Haute. We always had these Terre Haute stories, and multiple Terre Haute stories, even with Hush Tower and right on Wabash Avenue, which is the cruise. Everyone cruises Wabash and Terre Haute, at least they used to. And there was just always some weird shit going on, on that strip. We'd be loading into this club. It was called the Fourth Quarter on Wabash and Terre Haute, and there'd be these cars going by us really slowly because they're cruising the strip, and it's really and you get these women who just hey baby, what are you... going, yeah, because that just freaks me out. And then right as we were loading out, this guy came out, and he was just really fucking drunk, and he was just hey man, you playing tonight, man? I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, we're playing. What kind of music do you do, man? And I'm like, we just do originals. And he's like, you should do some Ozzy. You should do some Ozzy. I'm going, well, we only do originals. And he goes, you try to tell me Ozzy ain't original? Anyway, we went and did this show, and there was this first band. They had a ton of people in there. It was crazy. It was I don't know. It was crazy, crowded. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, all right, cool, But then when the band was done, they all left.
Oh dear God! So they must have been a local band that,
right?
Maybe a college band or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it probably wasn't Terre Haute, probably Indiana State Band, something like that. then we did. So the thing is, so we ended up doing the show. And here's the thing about us is like, whenever we play to less people, we actually play harder. I don't know why we do that.
Yeah.
I just want to play and put on a better show.
I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about that. Why that's
pretty cool.
But like, so we played. Okay, so like then we ended up doing the show, and there was one guy that stayed, and he was like right up, like 5 feet from my mic, and he had his arms crossed, and he was like he was just like no.
He's not getting it, huh?
No. And then all the people, the other 2 people that were there, were at the bar, which was facing the other way. So like their backs are to us, and they're watching like a football game or something.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, they said like, "Hey guys, can you guys turn down?" And I was just like, "Oh shit!" No, you know what? You know what we did?
Well, we played louder.
We fucking turned it up.
Turned it up to 11.
Turned it up and played hard.
And it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good one.
Terre Haute.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure that next time you play Terre Haute, you don't play that particular venue.
Well, we haven't played
Terre Haute since then.
All right. Very good. Now, I'm going to throw in an additional track because it happens to be one of my personal favorites, a track called The Mechanical Eye. It's from your album Under Surveillance. It's so good, guys. You get such an infectious bass line. And Don, your guitar work is just incendiary, man. What's the story on this rocker? I love it.
Well, we put that together. We actually wrote that on the drum machine.
Yep.
And I remember working on those parts because there's a middle section there where the drums kind of go off into their own beat, and the bass kind of maybe does a static pattern, and it's kind of cycling around, and I'm doing another pattern, and we're kind of cycling around each other.
You're right.
Until
it is so good. The
come to that break point, and then it takes off again, right?
Yeah, that vibe on that song just it kind of reminds me of Motorhead, you know.
Oh, I love Motorhead, man.
Yeah,
thank you.
It reminds me of Motorhead. Right now, it's Mechanical Eye from Terminus Victor right here on the Someone You Should Know podcast. Mechanical Eye from Terminus Victor, great song right there. And as we're getting ready to wrap up the show, how about some closing thoughts, guys? Where are you guys playing this year, and where are you guys in regards to finishing up the album?
Yeah, very close to done. We're starting the mix down process now. The tracks are pretty much done. There'll probably be a few little things we add, but yeah, we're mixing down with James Treichler, Wave Upon Wave Studio. But we did the tracks with Matt Talbot at Earth Analog Studio.
Okay.
Matt Talbot, he does a lot of recording and was in the band Hum.
Okay.
Which is actually one of our influences too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So it's been great to. Well, it's the second album we've recorded with
exactly.
Matt,
Under Surveillance we did with Matt Talbot as well.
Yeah. And then
are we going to see you on the road this year?
Yeah. We're playing a cool festival this year in May. It's called Caterwall Festival up in Minneapolis.
Oh, awesome. Very good. So it's a nice road trip.
It's like it'll be great. It's a really cool grouping of bands that we've gotten connected with over the years. It's like a 4-day festival. It's going to be lots of great bands. And one of our favorite bands from, I think they're from San Francisco. The Tunnel. We're actually
check them out.
Friends
The Tunnel.
The Tunnel. Very good band. We're excited to be able to actually play with them. Also, actually in the same stage. It'd be great.
Also, isn't Juna playing there too?
Juna, yeah. Juna,
so check out Juna. It's spelled Dgunah. No, seriously, we're like really into these bands, and we're like really totally like amazed that we're actually playing with them. You know what I mean? It's like and making friends too. It's just like fucking awesome, man. Yeah.
Wonderful. Links to your material, guys, so we can go ahead and include it in the show notes to where everyone can follow where you guys are and know what to do.
Sure. I mean, we've got several places where you can find us on the internet. So we have our own website at terminusvictor.com.
Okay.
That can get you just pretty much anywhere else we are. You can get, merch up there and records. We're on Bandcamp as well. Bandcamp under Terminus Victor. We have Facebook and Instagram page under this Terminus Victor as well. So it should be
wonderful
to find us.
The material
YouTube videos.
Oh, that's right. That's right. What I'm going to do is all these are going to be in the links below. And so anyone who's listening in their car right now and wants to know a little bit more about Terminus Victor, all the links are down below, and including the YouTube links you were just talking about a second ago. We're going to wrap up the show with All We Need Is a Reason from Prevention versus Intervention. That's the third album. What's the story on this particular song, guys?
Kind of self-explanatory. I mean, think about what we're going through. Now all we need is a reason, like a reason to live. You know what I mean? Like, what's the reason?
Awesome. Very good. Guys, I want to thank you so very much for being on the show as we close up things. I thank you so much for being on the show and rescheduling and being with us. And I wish you the best. I hope to see you guys in 2023. And once again, thanks for all you do for touring with Sisser and supporting them, because they really like touring with you guys too.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you so much, man.
Waiting in
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.